Okay, so tonight's about wholesaling, finding an incredible buy in real estate and selling it to the most frugal people in the world. If you can put that together, then you can do the rest of the game. The Renegade's probably the best because of the viewing audience. So why we're doing this is, I'm doing it because I'm old and I want to sell picks and shovels to the people going to the gold rush. That would be you, going to the investment properties, so we videotape everything. My whole objective is to get people to pay $27 a month to join the club, get all the past videos, but they also usually access to me. If anybody's ever talked to me, I guarantee you that I've helped a lot of people, so that's what I'm in for. I know Todd's interested in helping people, but he's doing a really good job, and he's here to network and share his experience in return for that.
And make money too.
Yeah. So, we got two disclaimers. Disclaimer one, real estate by its very nature can be risky. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You always need to talk to an accountant. You always need to talk to an attorney when you're doing work. That's an official disclaimer. My unofficial disclaimer is everything I'm telling you tonight's a lie. If you like it, try it on. In other words, don't sue me. So, because I'm going to say, I told them everything I said was a lie. This is our agenda tonight. It's basically what we had on the meetup. Just going to talk about how to find wholesale deals, the art of negotiating. Unless you've got questions, you can interrupt us with questions. How to determine what your buy and sell price is, using the MLS, how you can do really well with the MLS, and I'm just going to, I'll demonstrate that, hopefully. And then how to get a buyer's list, how to set up your business, how to get started wholesaling, how to do signs, different ways to sell, like you know, we buy homes, we'll talk about that, like generating leads. Where to find motivated sellers, how to locate a trainer that will teach you this business and you get paid along the way, which is better than paying a big bunch of money for $50,000 and having a trainer that doesn't get you where you want to go. And we want you to bring your questions to this, okay? Fair enough? So, where do you find a wholesale deal? I'll just for the room, where you guys willing to share, where do you find your wholesale deals?
List stores.
Where?
List stores.
Okay. Use that?
I have used it.
Yeah. Is that working? Hang on, is that working out for you?
Yeah, it's working out.
Okay. Does this need to go with him? Okay, who else? Finding deals. Anybody willing to share? Go ahead. Craigslist, that's really good.
That's a good one.
You want to talk, I'll just pick on Todd because he's being nice, but
Yeah.
how would I use Craigslist?
So you look at the Craigslist ads and you're trying to find someone that you think is the owner selling the property, not an agent selling it. Call them up, and usually I call them and I talk to them. I don't tell them I seen it on Craigslist, because when you start asking questions and you're trying to get, you know, where they like you and everything, they're gonna say, "You see my ad on Craigslist?" You know, I call them and I say, my office gave me your name and number, and they told me, I was just checking to see if your property, if you're still in the market to sell. You see how I stutter and I act like I don't know what I'm saying? That's how I talk on the phone. It's the same thing. It's no big deal. So they say, yeah, my property. Say, oh, wonderful. What are you looking to get for the property? They tell me the number, name, whatever. I said, okay, may I ask you a few questions? I'll see if I could maybe, Usually I ask them a few questions first. The main question I ask is there anything wrong with the house that I should be aware of? Because everything else you can figure out and find out, but you got to talk to them for a minute. And then at the end I go, what is going to make you happy? You're trying to get that number. So if you're on Craigslist and it says 50 grand and he's saying 30, you're like, yes, right? Or if he says 50 and you say, oh, is that the best you can do, right? They say, whatever. You say, what about this? If I could give you a large down payment and then make, payments a month for, 12 months, whatever, something like that, would you entertain something like that? They say yes, I'm going to book that appointment and go see this. That means they're pretty motivated, right? And a large down payment to me is like $1,000. $500 to him is like 20, right? So we'll figure that out when we go. But you know, he's pretty serious on that. And then lastly, the last thing is, if you're not getting anywhere, you say, you know, for me, you know, I'm an agent too. I could try to list it from the guy, right? I always throw that in there as a, I don't want to list it, but I throw it in there and say, look, you know, I go, but I'm an investor, and whatever the house is worth, I'm usually right around 70% of that value, depending on the repairs and things like that, you know, so, and I know this area really well. It's probably around, or I try to get him to tell me the number. If your house was all fixed up, what would it sell for? He gives me a number, and I look, and I try to figure that all out. And if he's close or under, then I say, yeah, you're right. It probably is 50,000. So I'll probably be around, I'll tell you, around the $35,000 mark, somewhere in that area. You know, when we close fast, we pay cash, no hassle. If you list it with an agent, you're going to pay the commissions. It might take 6 months. Blah, 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 blah. You try to give them, you try to put them into your little space so, you know, it goes your way.
So you want to do signs if you're going to generate leads. So there's a couple ways you can do signs. There's a company called supercheapsigns.com. Supercheapsigns.com. I found them to be one of the best places to buy bandit signs or signs for the side of your car. So you put signs on the side of your car, magnetic, or if you don't want to, if you don't like having a sign on the side of your car, then put it on your wife's car, or your friend's car, or your contractor's truck.
Just don't put it out, don't drive up to an appointment with a sign on the side of your car. They're gonna get pissed off, or I'm gonna see it and I'm gonna write that address down and I'm gonna call them in 10 when you leave. So don't do that, I wouldn't do that. Because people don't want the neighborhood to know what they're doing, or their neighbors to know what they're doing.
So, this is this is what I heard happen to somebody. They asked their son to go put a bunch of these signs up. They said to their son, I'll give you $2 for every sign you put up. And the person bought 2,000 signs. Wow. And the son didn't care where he put them up. If it was the mayor's house, he'd put a sign in front of it. So then the phone rings and it's the police department. They want to talk to me. Talk to that. So you go down and so signs are very effective. After this guy got rid of his son, then he was okay because he knew where to put the signs up. And everybody made it very clear where you don't put them. So, and I'll tell you where you don't put them. You don't put them on a major artery where people are driving 40 miles an hour because they don't have time to read them. And see each of these dots I put here? You're going to put a roofing nail about this long. You're going to push it in. You're going to pre-punch them. They're going to be in the back seat of your car. You have 50 of them in there. In 2 hours, I heard that you could put, say an I heard, you could put out about 50 of these signs. And where you're putting them out is you're finding a major artery where the streets feed into it, and there's commercial buildings which are a lot of times what? Boarded up, closed. So you want to put the signs up where you're not going to upset anybody. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, if you go into a neighborhood and remember, I'm finding out where he wants to own properties, or whoever the buyer is. He says, I'd like to buy in Southfield between 8 Mile down to 5 Mile or something. So he gives me this parameter where he wants to buy in, and I want to be west of Telegraph or west of Southfield, or wherever he's telling me, that's the area I want to put signs up in. Is everybody following that? Because I've got a built-in buyer that's actually buying that I know I can satisfy. So now I'm in a neighborhood where they have a neighborhood watch group that doesn't want signs up. How do I put my signs up? Where am I going to put them up? I'm not going to
across the street.
I'm going to go to the service stations and I'm going to put the sign on their property and telephone poles on their lots facing the pumps. I'm going to go to the dollar stores, the liquor stores. I'm gonna go into everywhere where there's commercial property and have the sign face where the people are getting out of their cars. If there's a pawn shop, you bet I'm gonna be there. If it's an unemployment office, you bet I'm gonna be there. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay? So, and if I've got contractors working for me, they're all gonna have signs. And if you're in a neighborhood where there's property that's in really rough shape, that's not gonna upset anybody, then you can just put the sign right on the house, you know? So, this guy that hired this kid to do that, the kid hammered nails on windows that were boarded up, broke the windows out, but left the signs so that people know who to call to come fix their window. And just a FYI. But signs are very good and they work. And since that guy got rid of his son, do you know that he's never had one complaint? And he knows where all the signs are too. So it's a very effective way to work. And it works well, and it works in all areas. Remember what I said about going on commercial property? Now let's say that I want to be out around in the burbs, or I want to be even further out. I can take like a major corridor like US 23 that's going north, where they have a service road that runs alongside it. Service roads are packed. So then you're going to hit the telephone pole on the service road on a farmer's property, you follow? And the cars are stopping, they're reading the signs. A very, very effective way to get out into the burbs. So you just got to study the market, study where you're not going to upset somebody.
And if you see other people painting signs and things like that, you can put them around there. And then the one thing about signs, if you get a phone call from a sign or a lead, that's a sign lead, you better call it fast, because they didn't just call my sign, they called your sign, your sign, your sign. So you got to get on it right away.
Now I'll tell you where I have no competition. Who's an active investor in the room? Raise your hand up. This is the best tip you're going to get all night. Trust me. This is good. So what do I do for a living today? I mean, really make a living? I'm an internet marketer. So I'm going to be playing a game against you on what I'm about to tell you to do. So you're going to go to Google My Places, and you're going to order a postcard for your house. And then you're going to name your map location what? It's a test question.
The houses.
Well, here I can tell you what I named one of mine, so let's just play a game here, right? So Todd went on these calls today, there was one yesterday, so now I'm in Google. Cash for your house, Detroit.
Listings for cash for your house around Detroit. Here they are.
So what comes up at the top is ads. Here, I'll let these guys verify it since they're competitors. So there's the ads, right? But the first thing that comes up is maps, right? What's the very first map? Cash for your house, Detroit. What did I just say into the phone? Sell my house fast. Cash for your house. We buy houses for cash, right? So I'm on my way to 100 of these babies, okay? This is good. This is a Wildcat barbecue. Do you know what that is? Did you guys get this? Okay, you need an address and you need to order a postcard. If you don't know how to do it, go to YouTube. I may even do a video on that so that other people can watch my YouTube channel. So, do you follow? Oh, that's a good tip.
She said no.
You didn't follow? So, that's free if you can do a map of your house. And Google says if you're a service-related business and you go to the customer, you don't have to show your address. Are you going to show your address?
Say that one more time.
Google says if you're a service-related business and you go to the customer, you don't have to show your address. So do I have to show my address on these maps?
No.
Right. Does that make sense to you guys now?
So you do one at your...
Does he have to live in Detroit to do that? No, he just has to have an address.
Yeah, you use your friend's address, you use this person's address.
Well, now we're going too far.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. I thought
You know what he did to irritate me? He put a sign I'm driving down my street, and I get to the end of the street and it says, Todd buys houses. But he put it in a commercial piece of property where there'd be no issue. Well, next to a car wash. It's like, oh, that's cool. So,
Just double check if you're writing, like I write my signs. I don't know why, but I do. Just make sure you write the phone number right. I screwed that up a couple times.
so yeah, so now if you're in the tire business or you're in the garage business and you fix tires, as you put the nails into the signs, you can throw a handful out the window. Okay, Craigslist, we talked about networking. So, you want to talk, any other ways you want to talk about generating leads?
Driving for dollars is one of my good ways. I go to the auction every week, and I work the auction leads, pre-auction, and networking is humongous.
So we talked about yard signs, bandit, probate. You can get the probate list. It's really good if you can develop a relationship with a probate attorney that does a lot of probate work. So here's something you need to know about probate. I'm a probate attorney, and now I've got this landlord that died, and I'm handling the estate, or I've got somebody who owns a lot of property. So it's a lot of it's rental property, and what do I want to do as an attorney? I want to get paid, and I can only make so much, so I want to liquidate the good stuff and walk away from the other. So in the state of Michigan, you can abate a property. Do you know what that means? That means I don't do anything with it. I'm just going to let the taxes take the property. So a probate attorney has a lot of gold in his hands in a lot of cases. And if I'm a regular probate attorney, so being able to develop a relationship with a probate attorney is really important. You've got to figure out how you're going to go get married to a probate attorney. So bondsmen are good for, why? Because people are getting put in jail, they need to post a bond, and they're in trouble already. The mailman is majorly key. If you know a mail carrier, they know everything that's happening on their route. They know by the mail that the people are in foreclosure, they know that they're upside down, they know that they've got high interest paid credit cards, they know everything. So if you can get a relationship with a mail carrier, you've got a really good source for telling you what's going on. They can tell you who's in trouble. Network groups like this, really good. Divorce attorneys, when somebody's going to divorce, they're headed, everything's dual income these days, so you know that the house is headed for problems. Unemployment office, if you can put a van across from the unemployment office painted that says I buy houses for cash, very good. I have a good friend that when I was heavy duty in the real estate business, all the park benches in the city of Detroit were abandoned. They had the name of the company that put those benches there. He went and got the name, the assumed name for that company. He made uniforms, and he went in and repaired all the park benches. And on the back of the park benches, it says, "We buy houses for cash." So he just took over assets and handled them. So I thought that is really good. I can't take them over, so I'll just build some park benches. I had some of my park benches stayed up for 5 to 6 years on major corners. So in my park benches, I got a picture of one of them where there's this guy sleeping on one. So I'm just saying you got to get creative in your thinking. So that's a community service project you can take on. Tax assessor, way back when, if you're from a smaller area, there might be a tax assessor. He knows everything that's going on. He can help you. A public adjuster, I don't know, there's about 168 of them in the state, something like that. How many?
I bought that number.
Yeah. So I got a public adjuster I'm going to come and talk to you in a minute. A public adjuster, so first of all, there's a fire, you know. So what there is when there's a fire is there's fire chasers, okay? And these guys head straight over to the fire, and it's their job to sign the people up that they're gonna give them some money and fix the house. And here's $1,000 to go stay in a motel, and they're gonna sign a repair contract with them to repair the house. Then that fire chaser is gonna run as fast as he can to a public adjuster, because the public adjuster is gonna max out the value of that house. And now the house is insured for $40,000, a good public adjuster on something would probably get $40,000.
The person passed away, so it's going to the family member. So you see all these different things, watch. It's going to the family member, and so I'm giving him 7, and then I have to go through probate, but I got 12 months to do all this stuff. And I already got a buyer on this side I'm gonna make 10 grand, all right? So it's just a lot of different things going on there. So the person that bought it for 9 is gonna get mad at me when I redeem it from him, because he's thinking, I got this beautiful house for 9,000.
So you as a wholesaler, your whole objective is to have a pending board, a bunch of deals that are just like that. So takes a lot of pending deals, and then they start coming off the other end. When I was full tilt at this, I would always minimally have 40 pendings, because I knew a certain number of them would fall off. It was just a numbers game. And you gotta remember, don't wander. So I had a house in Pontiac where the daughter had been raped by her father in that house, and he was in prison. That mother did not want to live in that house with that daughter. They didn't care what the price was. They just wanted to walk away. So you always got to look at what's the reason. Maybe somebody died there, or what's the motivation? You go up front and it's, oh look, keep cool, an indoor pool, because the water's coming out of the basement windows. It's like, where the tenant broke off the pipe and stuff, the dirt socked down the drain. If you had goldfish, you could have let them go, they would swim around the furnace. But, or the lady who I once bought a house from, because she dumped a whole dump truck load of sand into the basement to create a permanent litter box for the 20 cats. So, there's stuff that, you got to look at what the motivation is for the of people that are in the houses. So auctions we talked about, foreclosures we talked about, demo list. In the city of Pontiac, I had a relationship with all the city councilmen that pull houses off the demolition list. I went to every demolition hearing because I had the rehab crews to be able to rehab and put the house back, get city certs and put it back on. If somebody's house has been ordered demolished, is there motivation? Yes. So code enforcers are good people to know, because they're the ones getting people in trouble and they know where all the motivated sellers are. Mortgage brokers, people who have come to the mortgage broker more than once, put a deal together. Expired MLS listings, you can chase. FSBOs, for sale by owners. Email broadcast out I use. Actually, Maureen can give me a list in a given zip code of everybody that's in trouble, either tax foreclosure, regular foreclosure. There's a bunch of different reasons, but she can give me that list, and now I've got their names and telephone numbers, so I can do emails to them. She can pull all of that. So if you're interested in being able to buy a specific list, or let's say you've got a house in an area and you want to find out who all the out-of-state owners are in a given area, or who owns most property around there, you can give her that and she'll be able to tell you who they are. Jail, I've done deals. I used to be able to go to the, long time ago, 20 years ago, I could go to the jail and buy a house, from the guy who's been arrested. But we had a landlord that was in jail. Great motivation, nobody's collecting the rent. Firemen, forget. Tax assessor, we talked about. Pawn shop owners, why? Because people are motivated. We had a guy in our group that had hand sanitizer by a gallon, and on the front of the gallon it said, we buy houses for cash, and he would drop it off at pawn shops. I used to have a guy that was the paper deliverer for Oakland Press, and he had a relationship with all the party store owners, so we had little things, we buy houses for cash. The phone number that they used was recorded, so he knew I wasn't going to cheat him because he was in the deal, right? So that was a really good way. I'm just saying, start thinking other ways. Is this helping you guys come up with some ideas? Okay. Okay, so the art of negotiating a deal. First of all, there's certain forms you have to carry with you, and I'm going to give you a list of those, and I'm going to send all those forms to you. One's a buyer favorable purchase agreement, and then all the disclosures you got to have. So when you actually go to somebody's house, that you've got everything you need to be able to sign the deal. But the true art of the negotiation, I'm going to let Todd talk on that one because there's nobody better than him. I render that to him. Then I'll pipe in if I hear something like what I had.
I just wing it. I don't know. Usually I usually don't do a lot of homework. Most of my leads are in Detroit, and I pretty much know the value. Like the gentleman right there had that house on ropes, and I knew right where it was. I know that could be a homeowner to buy that one. The price is probably a homeowner that is going to want something like that. Throw that on MLS, you'll make some money. So what I'm always trying to do on the phone, a little bit, I'm trying to get a price. And I'm asking a few questions, and I'm trying to get an appointment right away. So when I'm going to the house, and the price I get on the phone better be decent or somewhere I think I could work, else I'm wasting my time. 2 years ago I'd run all those calls, but not anymore. I'm still working the deal on the phone. I make the appointment. He gives me a number, 15 grand. All right, we're talking. So when I go to the house, I already know what the back taxes are. They tell you 2,000, that means 8,000. You better check. It's really easy to check. I know if it's the owner. Usually I know if there's a lien, things like that. So very, very important to have that in the back of your mind. I don't go in there with a folder in my hand and like this. I just walk in normal. Sometimes I have a business card I give them, sometimes I don't. And I just trying to be myself and trying to figure out while you're walking through a house, why they want to sell, how fast they want to sell, and always trying to figure out the price of what they want to sell. And you're always trying to work that price. And there's like different stages. If it's a great price, boom, those are the easy ones. You get it under contract real fast, and you can say I can close in 2 weeks on those type of deals, because you know you can, because it's just such a great price. You'll go find the money, you'll figure out who you can partner with and get it. Usually I give myself 30 days to 45 days. Like today's the 12th, I'll put February 28th on the end of my contract. And I'll say, look, I usually close fast, but I give myself, I write it up here, we got to order title, blah, blah, blah. I'll explain that later after he signs the contract. So once you figure out all these things with the guy, and I kind of talk to them and let them tell me what I want them to say. That's what you're trying to do. You're like, and don't just talk everything bad about the house. Also talk about, oh man, you got pretty good furnace here. That's good. You got this, the roof isn't bad. Stuff like that. And then you say, and then when you're negotiating, then you start talking, listen, this is what I do. I buy houses. And a lot of times they still think I'm going to buy the house. It all depends on the person, the situation. Sometimes, a lot of time, well, I'd say 50% of the time, the other 50% of the time I'm going to tell them I've worked with a ton of investors. I've been doing this for many years. For me to buy it, I got to buy it at $8,000. And then I'll be quiet. And before, usually it doesn't take long. Get out of my house, whatever. But, sir, listen. I've been doing this a long time. I work with investors. In my job, a lot of them are out of state, out of the country, some are here, but my job is to find houses for them. They pay more than me. They're going to pay more. They're not going to pay you that $15,000 that you want, I'll be honest with you. But, if you could do this, I'm at 8, say if we could do this at 10, would that work for you? and then we negotiate from there, right? Really, I already know what number I'm gonna sell this thing for. This is a not $20,000 house all day long, so I'm playing with my money, you know. Do I get it at 15 and make 5, or do I try to get it lower, and sometimes, you know, that 20, I'm selling it for 18, things like that.